Catherine McAuley is very much a part of Mercy. She is Mercy, actually. She began in Ireland. Her father died when she was 5. Her mother died years later, and she found herself having to live with lots of other folks as she went through her lifetime.
She went to live with a family or a couple and helped take care of the woman. And then when they passed away, they gave her their money.
She, when you think late in life, at age 50, builds a building for a purpose, the care of young women coming to Dublin.
Catherine McAuley built a house in the middle of a well-to-do neighborhood, and nobody was happy about that, except Catherine and the women who helped her and the women who came.
When she was leading the estate of the Quaker couple, the Callahans, a young woman who was working in a neighboring estate came to her and was looking for refuge. And she was not able to offer that refuge. So when she inherited that money, what she wanted to do was create a house in a fashionable area of Dublin where women who could be in the evenings there and then go out to the homes of the gentry and be able to come back so that abuse wasn't a temptation.
It really was a form of shelter, because who lived there for the most part were young women who came in from the country. And they came in to work and often were mistreated by masters of the houses where they worked. So Catherine taught them skills so they didn't have to go live in a house and be a maid or a nanny or whatever.
Her concern was for the poor, to take care of young women who were being abused, and so she had a place for them to live where it was safe.
I'm in awe that she comes to have all this money, and instead of using it for herself, she serves the poor, and particularly women and children. And so much like the Sisters of Mercy today, works to give them workable skills so that they can support themselves.
Then when she began to send sisters to the United States, the first thing they would do is build a place. Not build a place, but take a place and turn it into something.
She really believed that an education of a woman would change society. Anything that could help a young woman start making her own income and start having her own voice.
The basics of education and hospital care, health care were her beginnings, and they continue. But we've also moved into many other areas with the needs of 2000. The 21st century is a lot different than it was in the 19th century.
The sisters came here to Omaha in 1864. We always love saying we got here before the Jesuits. Always like to point that out to my Jesuit friends.
It was called Nebraska Territory. We came out here in the midst of the Civil War, arrived on the muddy banks of the Missouri on a steamer named Montana in 1864.
They came and when it was a city of dirt roads and muddy streets and...
Yes, across the street was a cornfield.
A cornfield.
The 7 Sisters of Mercy came up the Missouri River and were let out on the banks. And it was a real muddy day, and they walked up the hill, and there was a house there for them that the bishop had for them, and in it was a piano and nothing else. And they started from that, giving piano lessons, and then gradually opened up the school.
But they were there for a mission. They were there primarily to start Catholic education for immigrant families. And then they began to see all kinds of other things going on here in Omaha. And they developed health care, the first hospital down on the river, the old St. Joseph's Hospital. Then they went on to get involved in St. James Orphanage. And then the part of that, of course, was College of St. Mary.
The college was started in 1924. And it was downtown Omaha. In 1955, we moved out to this campus. And I remember coming out here with my grandparents to see this, new school, not knowing that, some years later I would be here.
We're more than 100 years old now. It was built in a field. So this was countryside, basically. And where like Mercy Center is now was an asphalt road up to what was then called Center.
I came in 57. The building was brand new. Education was a huge degree area. There was a little bit of nursing. It wasn't huge like it is today, but some social work. Those are pretty much the three areas that you could work in. This one whole wing belonged to the sisters, and the sisters lived in that wing, and you didn't go in that wing unless you were a sister. The grounds have grown immensely. Out back, there was all dirt road. Across the street was a farm with cattle. We had to walk every day, go outside and get some fresh air, so there was a tennis court. But up and down the back here in the hill, there was a dirt road that went out to Center Street. They were building the interstate, getting ready to build the interstate, and they wanted to build the interstate down the old Center Street. So it would have run through the backyard. And I remember Father Duffy going to Lincoln and saying, you got to change it, you got to leave the College of St. Mary alone.
Campus was very, very small. Predominantly, the students were Sisters of Mercy in various stages of formation. The two dorms, there were a lot of lay women students, many of them from the rural parts of both Nebraska and Iowa. So that since I graduated, we've added Gross Center, the Science Building, additions to the dormitories in between, now what's known as Stevens building. When I entered, there were 24 of us in 1961 that walked through those front doors. I think there were 7 of those from Mercy High School. The rest were from around the U.S., what was then known as the Omaha province. Went from Omaha to California, north and south.
And then about 3 or 4 years ago, we dropped all of those boundaries. And now we are all part of one unit. Changes began to happen in the church in 1965. The changes occurred in the church and subsequently in the Sisters of Mercy. I'm very proud of the history of that in the Sisters of Mercy. I'm very proud that we had the leadership of women at that time who said, we need to open our hearts and minds to what the church is telling us, what society is asking of us, and we need to be responsive to that.
We need to be about women who come from all kinds of areas, older women as well as younger women. It's not just 18-year-olds, but it's women who are in their 30s, may just have the desire for an education, but also may have been divorced and found themselves without the resources to get a job because they didn't have an education, or starting the program for the residence hall for single mothers and their children, because those single mothers need an education if they're going to raise their children out of poverty.
Given that it's a small college with a specific mission, it's been a challenge, but one that obviously the sisters and the community here at CSM has responded to very well.
Catherine McAuley was very much walking through the streets of Dublin and noticing people that were suffering and offering assistance and walking with them, not overpowering them. That's what the Sisters of Mercy have done with schools and hospitals, social service. They continue to walk among the people with the institutions that they've built and the inspiration that they've given people like me to continue to walk amongst the people and then support them as best you can.